before we kind of get into the nitty gritty, I always like to start here when we talk about social media. And I just want to acknowledge many authors feel like they need to be on social. They feel like they need to be visible and engaged on social. And I don't disagree with that, but I also do believe that social media you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to be in the right places where your target readers are, and do it in the way that feels right to you. So there are some things that work beautifully. There's some tips, and this season, or this season, look, I'm in podcast mind. This month, we are highlighting LinkedIn, and we are doing it in two parts. Part one this month will be on infrastructure, and part two next month will be on engagement. I mentioned when Bonnie and I were chatting, like, she knows my love for LinkedIn, mainly because I know when people go to LinkedIn, they go for conversions. They don't go to look and watch and see what's going on in somebody's life yesterday. They don't go for like mindless stuff. They are going because they are ready to do something. They're either looking for people, or they're interested in a business, or they're interested in what you're talking about from a conversion standpoint. So I actually believe every single author, this is the only platform I believe every single author should absolutely have a presence on. The beautiful thing about LinkedIn, and that's why we're breaking it up in two sections. The beautiful part one is that if you have a beautiful infrastructure and you don't find joy and engagement, it can still work for you. So today we're going to start with making sure you have beautiful infrastructure. But the reason I love LinkedIn is because it gives you a place to build out your brand identity and your voice, and an extension of what your message is shared through your book, and how you want people to take the book and use it. Right? So many authors, or many readers, they love your book, and then they get to the end and they're like, now what? And if they love you, they will want to continue whatever it is that you bring. So if you do speaking, if you offer workshops, if you don't do any of that and you just have other books, like, this is a place for them to do that connection. It also is a great place to position you as an industry expert and a thought leader. When you post LinkedIn articles, we'll talk about this next month, but when you post a LinkedIn article, this is the only social platform I'm aware of that is actually searchable. That type of content is searchable outside of LinkedIn. So if someone Googles something and you have written something about it, it actually can come across as your article is out there, and people can get access to it. So that's huge. And when you're sharing your thought leadership, or what you're bringing to the table as an expert, if people are seeing it and they love it. It also is a great place to network with readers, new readers, potential readers. And I see your hand up, Andrew. Give me one sec. I'll finish this and then absolutely chime in. It's a great place, though, in addition, to connect with connectors. So like Uber connectors. And Marjorie, when you were talking just a moment ago about your launch team doing all these things, that's great. So as people start to love you and be a part of your connections, you will find that there are Uber connectors in your network. And these Uber connectors might not be the one to buy your book, but they just might know the right people to help you sell many. So LinkedIn is a great place to connect with these Uber connectors and other thought leaders who are looking for people like you that might be an expert in a niche within the industry. So I just love LinkedIn, and I get so excited about it. Okay.
I do.
So you think we're good? Okay. So
no, I have a question.
Oh, bring it, Bonnie.
But I'm pretty sure this is exactly where you're going. What do you mean by infrastructure?
Yes, it is. It is. That word, I use it all the time when I think about social, because infrastructure to me is like your profile. It's the static stuff on your social platforms. Okay. So it's the stuff that they go, what's your bio? What's your photo? All these things. That's your infrastructure. And if you get that right, then your infrastructure can work for you. So today we're going to talk about what should you be thinking about for the cornerstone of how you are seen on LinkedIn. Now, engagement, that is how do you connect and engage and talk with other people.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to take that infrastructure thing a little bit further, because I think it can be helpful to have another way to conceptualize it. So if we think about when we use the word infrastructure in the construction industry, for example, we're talking about the foundation, we're talking about the steel girders that hold everything else up, and you wouldn't put the walls or the windows or paint until you have the infrastructure done. That's the same thing and that's, I think, brilliant reason why, Stephanie, you use the word infrastructure, because you kind of take care of that foundation stuff so that everything else works for you.
Yeah, think about like your book. Now, I'm a marketer. I love marketing books, but if you don't write the book, how can you do the other things, right? Like the book becomes kind of the infrastructure of your message, and it allows you to use it's a conduit to share to other people. Same thing in social. So I am actually today, I'm going to pop out of our presentation and we're in live time. We're going to look at LinkedIn. So you get to LinkedIn. This is where you go. This is where you start, all that fun stuff. Well, I'm not talking about all this today. We'll talk about that next month. I'm talking about your infrastructure, your foundation, your profile. Okay. So first things first, you notice many people don't have this turned on. You see how that little video popped up? Yeah. So I'm going to talk to you about what that is today. I also want to talk to you about what used to be called, I used to call it your virtual business card, but now it's gotten bigger. So now the business cards right here are like a rectangle and not a little one. And then we're going to talk about really how do you optimize this. So the reason you want to optimize, and when I use the word optimize, what I'm saying is ensuring you're taking advantage of any nook and cranny on your profile, because people will search for it. So this is probably a great thing to talk to Bonnie about too with the team. Keywords that are used within your book. Are there specific people that you think need to know about your book? These are things we want to ensure that we're messaging within this. Okay. So a couple high level things before we get in the nitty gritty. LinkedIn has a new mode to it that's called a creator mode. We are creators, we're authors, and I encourage everyone that I get the chance to work with to ensure that creator mode is turned on. I'll show you how to do that here in a sec. The reason being is things unlock, like that cool video. And if we would have opened it up, you would be able to hear about 20 to 30 seconds of me talking to you. And that feels very relational versus a static photo, okay? The other thing is your LinkedIn profile might feel like it's about you, but it's not. It is not. As with most things in life, it ain't about us. I know. Let's shatter that, Marie, too, right? It ain't about us. It is about them. So I want you to always be thinking as you're looking at your profile, who is it that you want to read your book or work with you or engage with you? And how can you talk to them and bring to this expert kind of guidance that you have in the mix so that they trust you and know you? It is a problem solution world, right? People got problems, you're a solution. People are struggling, your book's a solution. People don't know what to do, you got a speaking solution, right? Like, so you are a solution, and we want to acknowledge the problem and talk to these people. We want them to know we get you. And like I said, this is a place for conversions. So if you want them to take action, freaking tell them to take action. We want them to know how you want to take action. So that's at a high level. Okay, so just keep all this in mind as we get in the nitty gritty. I'll use me as an example, and then we will go over to Yvonne and I'll show you Yvonne's beautiful stuff that we've done together, just as another good example here. So this is the first thing people see when they come. This is prime real estate, both this and your photo. So take full advantage of it. And I always giggle at myself because I'm an author and a book marketer and all this stuff, and mine is not what most people would think. However, it's an alignment because it is how I breathe life into people and how I believe in other people and how I see the world. So every time I go to change this photo, I'm like, oh, but I love it so much. So you can change it, and you can change it regularly, and that is okay. Okay. So this is just prime real estate. Don't not use this. And especially when your book is coming out or when it's an action to take pre-orders and all this stuff, this is a great place to put information about your book. When you turn creator mode on, you can add a video. You do have to do it through the mobile app. Okay. So you can't do it on the computer yet. You do have to do it logged in on your mobile. So just be aware of that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What is it, the creator mode you can't turn on? It's only in mobile?
No, you can. I'll show you in a sec. You turn on creator mode when we scroll down a little bit, and you do that on the computer. Yep. But the only thing on mobile that you can do is this video, and it's probably because of the size of it that you have to do it on your phone. You only get, I think it's 20 or 30 seconds. So I am not someone who does a lot of scripting. I'm better like free flowing, but this is something I scripted because I wanted to make sure I got it in during that time. So that is, but I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. A couple other things here that is important. I mean, listen, this is the first thing people see if they come to it. And if you don't have a photo back here, I'm going to be like, they're not serious, right? If I come to this and all I see here is author, nope. If I come here and I see, and Yvonne, this is where you come in, and I see that this doesn't have a photo, it has some little blue boxes, I'm going to go, not serious, right? Like the people that are coming to do conversion work, they're going to go, what a missed opportunity. Okay, so we're going to talk through all this so you don't have that. This right here is your headline, and it is probably, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of your LinkedIn profile. When we get to engagement next month, it will reinforce this, but specifically it's important because when you comment on somebody's post, a portion of your headline pops up. So we want to ensure that, and when you comment, then all of the other people are connected with can see your comment. So if it's, embracing, passionate about meaningful conversations, we know who that one is, right? We want that there because Yvonne, like, we want people to know that this is what she does, that she opens doors for that, right? So it's, this first part is really important. We want to make sure people can see that. And then realize, again, this is not a position. This is, what do you do to help other people? Okay, so come to it from that perspective. Andrea, did I see your hand go up or no? No, okay. The other thing when you turn on creator mode, and I'm going to show you in a second, is it unlocks these sections. So it unlocks the ability for you to highlight 5 hashtags that you talk about. This helps for searching and optimization. So, right, so pick things that are probably in alignment with your book, your message, and what you want to do next. And you can change these, but this gives you the chance to do that. It also gives you the chance to pivot from having people just connect with you to allowing people to follow and connect with you. Cool thing about this is if they follow you and you don't follow back, they will see your stuff, but you don't have to see their stuff. Who doesn't? There are people I don't want to see stuff about, right? So I don't have to. And that's really lovely. The other thing up here too, and then I'll show you how to turn on creator mode, is it opens this services section. So you get to say things that you're open to, if you're open to finding a job or hiring or whatever. And then you actually get the opportunity, to build out a whole other page that talks about how you help people and what you want to do. This is a great place to talk about your books. If you write, if you have a business, you can do that. Again, this is searchable stuff. So don't not take advantage of it. Something is better than nothing. You don't have to know all the things. So if you are a perfectionist, don't get hung up on them being perfect. I just want you to do something, to get something in here. You can also, if you notice, if you have podcast interviews or media interviews that align with the type of services you're doing, you can upload that here. You can also have people write reviews. You can ask people to write reviews about your services and or about your book. Bonnie, did you have a question? Did you have a thought? No. Okay. How does everybody feel with this? Is it, I see you all taking notes. Is this stuff like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about these things, or I knew about this, I just didn't think about it?
I have a bunch of things to add to my to-do list.
Yeah, I know. I know. I do too, right? I always say, usually I don't use me as an example because it's like most people in their career, in their profession, they're really great at work. And then when they go home, they like put their stuff on the back burner. But I did one day, Bonnie, set aside a day, and I finally did my LinkedIn how I tell everybody else to. Okay, awesome. So some of these things are private, things that only you see, but this is where creator mode is under resources. So if you click creator mode here, you just want to make sure you have it turned on. This is where you get to add your 5 hashtags. And this is what you will notice. You get the opportunity to do things like audio events. So see, this is where I just got done with a LinkedIn Live, and I do LinkedIn Lives every week. We'll talk about that next week as an engagement idea, but this is where you get to turn on that you can offer LinkedIn Lives. This audio event is new. LinkedIn changes things all the time. I don't know what this is, but look, I'm available. So that's great. I'll learn more about that. The newsletters too is something that we'll talk about next week, but these are only things creator mode people get. So you would just go in there and turn it on. If you ever decide to turn it off, you can do that. Don't ask me why you would ever turn it off. I don't see any value in turning it off. Okay, somebody put something in the chat. Oh yeah, good. Marjorie, you just clicked it, super easy, fantastic. Okay, so don't overthink it, just click it and be good. Okay, the next part we're gonna dive into are different profile sections. And before I dig into it, I want you to know if you see something on mine and it's not on yours, it's because you haven't added it. So before we get too deep, right here where you see add profile section, this is where you can go in and add different sections. So as we're talking about things, if you're like, I didn't know about that, you will want to go to add profile section, and that's where you will do it. Okay, any questions before we keep going? I don't see any hands up. Nope. Okay, great. All righty. So featured. This is missed opportunity space for a lot of people. Your featured section is a place that you can give people quick links to engage with you and to see the value that you bring to the table. I recommend do like between 3 or 5 featured links, okay? But if some people put about 100 up here and nobody reads them, think about between 3 and 5. As you see right here, you only see 3. And then you can go over like this and you can see more. Okay. So here's what I have for mine. I have what I call a video business card, so someone can meet me and learn about me a bit. So I want them to know that. I want them to like hear me. And then, hey, you want to have a chat? Great. Now again, think about this from my perspective. This is Stephanie the business. We'll look at Yvonne in a second as Yvonne the author. But if you have a business, make it easy for people to connect with you. I'm a host of a podcast, so I have that here. Okay. And then we'll talk about this next week, this newsletter. And then I do a LinkedIn Live. So I've picked the 5 things. If I could only pick 5 things for someone to know about me, that's this. But you, in theory, let's say you were on a podcast, you can put a link to that on here. Let's say you had a TV interview, you can do that. If you want to directly link to your Amazon page, you can do that too. For Yvonne, we've directly linked to the Ingenium author page. So this is a great place, but pick between 3 and 5. If you find that you want to do more, there's other places to put that, but don't go crazy, because then it actually can come across as overly promotional. Remember, it's not about you, it's about them. All right, this activity section always gets on my nerves, but neither here nor there. LinkedIn didn't ask my opinion. For people who visit your LinkedIn, this is how they can see what you're doing and what you're commenting on, but it just is wonky, and maybe one day they'll fix it. So I just ignore it. Okay, then we get down to this about section, another complete missed opportunity that many people don't take full advantage of. I'm trying to remember how many characters you get, but it's like quite a lot. And if I see someone only with a paragraph, I get sad. Don't not take advantage of it. Take full advantage of it. Write it in a Word doc or something before, because it's inevitable that like internet goes down and you've written something beautiful. So put it in a Word document. Get all
We do not want to make Stephanie sad.
No, sad Stephanie.
No,
good. Not a happy Stephanie. So we like happy Stephanie, and I like happy authors, and this is great search stuff, right? So this is where those keywords fit beautifully in. Now, I wouldn't write keywords : da 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 da. No, it's a story. We're storytellers. It's a story, and it's also not about you. Okay, so think about the about page as your cover letter applying for a job. But there's a cover letter writing to somebody who needs your book and your message and what you offer. Okay. Write it in first person. There's nothing worse than me saying Stephanie Feger is the author. No, I'm on your page. This is your letter to this person that you're excited that is on your page. You can take a peek at mine, use it as an example. We'll get to Vaughn's here in a second. We'll show hers. I have some friends who are LinkedIn experts, like up in the LinkedIn world, and they say, people like emojis. If you like emojis, do emojis. It does break up the content a little bit. And you can go Google emoji libraries and you can find all these fun ones. If you don't like emojis, that's okay too. But do find a way to kind of make it differentiated, because this does not allow you to bold or italicize and all that stuff that would be lovely. So if you can find a way to break it apart, that'd be great. If you were to read mine, I talk about this is the problem. And now my solution is below. See, so problem, solution, let's chat. So I want you to think about your work, your book, your message. What is why did you write it? What do you want people to do with it? Okay. And then incorporate words that people will probably search to find you. All right. Any hands on this? Nope. Oh yes, Andrea. Give me time to get a drink while you're getting off mute.
This is so great.
Oh, you just popped in to say that. You're so kind.
I have a question.
Yes.
But this is so great. Thank you. What if you have two books with two different messages?
Okay. Yvonne's a prime example. We'll get to it.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And I have two books. My next one coming out is completely different message. And this is a great place to talk about that. Here's the
Beautiful.
interconnection of all of the books. You ready? Drum roll. You are the interconnection of all your books. There's a reason you wrote them, and they might be different parts of you, but the underlining thread is you. And it is, and let's talk about that. Like, are you crying? Don't you be crying over there.
No, goodbye.
Oh, but it's true. We are that. And that's why I always say, I believe in author brands, and authors, we are bigger than the book, right? There's more to the book is our tool, but we are bigger than that. So this is a great place to connect those dots and help people understand that connection. Yvonne will be a great example of that. All right, Yvonne, speaking of Yvonne, she also knows my thoughts on this section because we spent a lot of time on this, didn't we, friend? Okay, your experience is like your resume. So you got your cover letter, that's the about, you got your experience, it's your resume. However, please don't look at it like a resume, because resumes are so boring. And that is not what this needs to be. I want you to think of this as an opportunity to share the experience that you've done that aligns with what you want people to do with you today. So for instance, I don't care if you took a random job and worked Chick-fil-A for a couple of years and that doesn't have anything to do with your book, don't put it in there. It's not a resume where we have to document everything we've done because we have to prove to somebody every year we've done something. No, this is experience that has relevant elements that build to what you are doing today and where you want to go. The other thing that I acknowledge here is that I want you to also not just say, I'm the author of this book. I do this, I do this. I want you to dig deeper because, and this looks overwhelming, it doesn't have to be, but dig deeper because this is also searchable content. I want you to think about the specifics on what people are going to get from the book, why you wrote the book, like elements. And again, we'll use Yvonne as an example here in like 2 seconds, because this is also prime searchable content. That you do have the opportunity to upload media here. So for instance, we'll scroll down to my author stuff here. So as the author, I do speaking and I wrote a book, a couple of them. Okay, so here I have info about the books and I've got those silly little book emojis. And then I upload things about my book and podcasts and media I've done, but I'm not giving people the opportunity to question what I can do. So here, these are things I can speak about. So I'm acknowledging that. Don't let them think too much. Give them the stuff because it's searchable. Okay. Some people, and we'll use this as a good example. This is that lovely little, not lovely, awful little box of, hey, this company is no longer in existence. So they don't have a LinkedIn page. And this tells me that it might not be real. I know it's real. It's okay. I still have some bullets here of what I did here. But if you can connect to companies or pages, you should. And I'm going to hold on giving more detail there because I want to use Yvonne as an example. Okay, so your experience, we're taking advantage of it. I always say at least 3 bullets on something if you're going to post something like an experience section, at least give us 3 takeaways or 3 things that are about that and why that matters to what you are doing today. I had a friend who is a fundraising professional, and she decided she wanted to pivot to HR. So I knew her experience in fundraising, and I went and looked at her profile. I was like, snap, she was smart because she took her fundraising experience, but didn't write about it in that way. She wrote about how it gave her the opportunity to know how to manage people. So just because you've experienced something doesn't mean it can't be in alignment with where you want to go. Okay, the education, there's education, volunteering, skills. These are important things, but I'm going to kind of gloss over those 2 because I like them, do them, but they aren't to me as most important as a couple of other sections. The skills section is a great place for you to go in and add skills of things that you do and things you want to do and things that are in alignment with who you are. So if you want to speak, I want there to be a professional speaking on there. If you talk about a topic that has a depth to it, if there's a skill you bring to the table, go in and take a peek at it. I don't think people do as many endorsements as they used to. I don't see that as much. Yes, we can also promote each other. You're right, Yvonne, on LinkedIn. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So, but take a minute and assess your skills, and do they still align? Yvonne, when we were working together, someone like endorsed you, or we had something on there that has nothing to do with what you want to do anymore, right? We were like, get rid of that skill. I don't want people to know you do that, even though you can, because you don't want to be doing that anymore, right? So just know you can change this. The two other sections, though, I want to make sure we highlight quickly is the recommendation section and the publication section. Recommendations, this is, you do have to turn this on, but this is a great place to ask people to write and share the review of your book. Who would have thought? Right? Or if you did a speaking engagement, have them write about that. So you have the ability to ask, and I think if you click, it's this one, ask for a recommendation. So I could literally send this to Bonnie and say, hey, Bonnie, would you write me a recommendation? And all she has to do is go, sure, and click a link and she writes it. So if you had some people, like maybe some of your endorsers, or some people that have written some really great reviews on Amazon, you could say that, send that and say, hey, would you write a recommendation on LinkedIn? Great place for it. The other place that many people don't know, because they're not as cool as we are as authors. So listen, we know this is important. We just don't know that it's there, is the publication section. It is a section you have to turn on. But once your book is published, you can do it if you have a pre-order. We, like Yvonne and I, we just had to get a little creative because they don't let you do it until the published date is up. But you can, if it's on for pre-order, you just put that date and change it later. Okay. LinkedIn won't like to hear that, but I say it's fine. And this is a place where you can put the description of your book, and actually this link will take you to the book on Amazon or wherever else. So it is wonderful. And it also up levels your expertise and your thought leadership. You aren't just the person that's talking about it. Y'all, you're the ones that wrote the book about it. Okay. So this is how I love LinkedIn. There's other little sections. Have fun with them if you want to do that. Marie, that'd be a great place to show your energy, right? And break the mold. But at the end of the day, what I just talked about are things I want to make sure you are fully taking advantage of.